Welcome to Artistic Adventures. We're going to continue our Bellatrix project today, making her wand and a few other accessories and finishing touches. And after that, we'll do a shoe video, which will be her boots, and that will be the end. Here's what her wand looks like. And also, she wears this necklace in a lot of costumes, sort of some kind of animal skull or something. So to start with, the wand has sort of a straight pointed tip, and I'm going to make that out of a toothpick. And then the handle part that's curved and rounded, I'm going to make with polymer clay. There are some carvings on it. I'll do the best I can with that, but on something this small, it's not going to be very noticeable. So I'm taking the polymer clay. I'm using white because I'm going to paint it at the end. And I'm just sort of rolling out that center portion to be the thin part of the handle, keeping a little nubby ending on it, and then sort of a bulb shape on the other end. And I'm going to cut the toothpick kind of in half. And then I sharpen the edge I'm going to stick into the clay. And when we bake it, it'll pretty much stick in there. If you do this and it did come out, you can always glue it and stick it back in. But clay contracts when you bake it, so it should hold it pretty good. Now I'm using a pointed tool to just make some marks that were like the grain of the wood on that rounded part. And then as best I can, I'm going to draw some little doodads on the handle with that. It's hard to see, but try to be as accurate as I can. And then we're going to mold it into that curved shape, and then we'll be baking it. So that's kind of how it looks at this point. Once it's baked, we'll work more. Here's the necklace that we're going to try to make. And of course, when you talk about necklaces that have any detail for dolls of this size, it's really hard to do that by hand. So the piece that I make, it's going to be a little bit bigger than it looks to scale. So I'm using a little blob of clay wrapped around a wire, and I'm going to bake it like that so that I'll have a hole through it, and we'll put the thread to put around her neck on that. And then I'm just sort of making like a little triangle for the skull looking thing that's on her necklace. And once I get that finished, I did put some round holes for eyes. I'm going to put some crystals in there later after we bake it. And again, I'm using white clay so we can paint it. I'm using this Fimo liquid Sculpey. I don't want to press down too hard to attach the skull to the hanging piece, so the liquid Sculpey will make it stick when you bake it. All right, so we're going to bake those two things, and then we'll finish them with some paint and other stuff. Now I'm going to make her a ring out of aluminum foil. And basically what I'm doing is just folding it over and over a really small piece to make it a little bit thicker. And then once I get it finished and cut it off, I'm going to use a straight edge to bend it one more time. That'll make it a little bit thicker. It's probably about 4 or 5 times that I wrapped it. And then I'm wrapping it around this tool, which is approximately the size of her finger. She looks like she's wearing some sort of silver ring on her right forefinger. So what I'm going to do is wrap it around there, shape it, glue it at the seam, and then we're going to put a Swarovski crystal in red, because I think, red and black goes well together. And we're just going to pop that over the seam of the aluminum foil so you don't see the seam. And I'm actually going to get a little bit of the glue on her finger so the ring will stick. You'd be able to pull it off if you really wanted to. Now I'm going to take some black acrylic paint and paint her fingernails because, black fingernails, witch, right? So first of all, I'm putting the acrylic paint down, and after I finish that and let it dry for just a minute or so, doesn't take long for that to dry, then I'm going to take some Liquitex High Gloss Varnish and put that on top of the black paint to give it a shiny look and also to protect the paint from chipping off with wear. So now she's got her nice black manicure and her finger ring. So that's pretty much done with those accessories. And now we can go back to working on the wand and the necklace. So we've taken the little wire out and put a black thread through the necklace after that was cooked. And I'm going to paint that silver to resemble the necklace that she's wearing in the picture. And then once this is painted silver and dried, I'm also going to put a coat of that clear gloss varnish on this to help protect the paint and give it a little bit of shine. And before I do that, though, I'm going to also paint the wand while I'm into the painting business. So I've got some brown and white, and in places I'm mixing it to be a little bit lighter on the handle so I can go back in and put some darker lines where those ridges are that I tried to cut into it to look like the grain of the wood. So I'm just putting some little streaks of brown on that. So I'm also going to put that clear gloss finish on the wand as well, to just to protect the paint and give it a little bit of a shine. So it did look kind of polished in the picture. And that's really all there is to that. That's really not too hard to do if you want to make a wand like that. The jewelry is a little bit harder. So now I'm going to take this and after they've dried, and I put the high gloss varnish on it and let that dry. And then we can put the crystals into the eyes of the necklace. And then it's going to be a little bit bigger. The necklace is a little bit bigger than, how it looks in proportion to her. But I think it'll be nice that it's recognizable to a certain degree. And I like the way it will look with the crystal eyes. That's really going to add a lot to it. So here's me putting that high gloss varnish on the two pieces. I just put one coat and then let that dry until I can touch it again. And then we can work on putting the eyes in. So I'm going to put a little blob of glue in that eye socket that I made. And then I have some teeny tiny little Swarovski crystals in sort of a fiery red, and I'm just going to pop those onto the glue. They're kind of an iridescent color. They really work nicely for this necklace. And once that's done, let that dry for a minute, and we can attempt to put it on her. This was the longest piece of this thread I had. Can you believe that? So what I'm going to do is put it behind her neck and glue it, and then I'll use some just regular thread to sew it at that place where I glue it so it'll hold. So there's our necklace and our wand. I think they turned out pretty cute. And there's the wand in the wand holder on her belt. She's ready to grab it with her right hand. See? But I actually am going to glue it to her hand with some of the E6000 because I want to have her be able to pose with her wand, which is normally how you see her. She's kind of a threatening presence. And then we're going to put the necklace around her neck. So that's, as you can see, a little bit larger than it was in real life. But anyway, so I've glued the base of that necklace to the cord together with some of the E6000. And then I'm taking just sewing thread and tying it in several knots around that glued piece. And that's so I can trim it and hopefully it will stay in place. All right, so we've got that, and I'm going to just plop some of that E6000 on there and glue it. It's not going to be permanent. You can always remove this stuff because it's kind of rubbery. So if, somebody wanted to take the wand out, they could. So there's our girl with her skull necklace, her wand, her ring, her black fingernails, and her messy do. So that's it for this video. Hope you liked it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Our next video, I'm going to make some boots for her, and that will complete the look for Bellatrix Lestrange. As always, please subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Thanks and bye.